So it turns out the only place that is scarier than the Rocky Mountains is the Appalachian Mountains. And have you heard of something called Dogman? So there is a creature that was just captured on image called the Dogman. And of course, this was in North Carolina, which is a part of the Appalachian Mountains. Yeah, the Appalachian Mountains where they tell you don't go out after fucking dark. Now, apparently, this is one of the cryptids that is said to live in the Appalachian Mountains that is similar to the Appalachian Bigfoot. And I found interesting information in this story about one of these cryptoids on Reddit. Because Dogman is such a phenomena in the Appalachian Mountains around North Carolina and has even been seen in Michigan that people are afraid to go looking for them on the trails. Now, I'm going to show you the picture of Dogman, but this is one of the stories from Reddit that I was reading that literally scares the shit out of me. To summarize, this man basically went on the trail with his dog where his golden retriever started to growl. He was in these Appalachian Mountains and they were in the dark woods. He said that he could hear trees shaking and branches falling. He said he had never been this scared in his life. Immediately went back in the house to where the man had his pew-pew. Once back in the house, he said it was basically like he was surrounded by loud mumbling, that it never stopped. Every time he would go to check, it would go dead silent. He said he didn't sleep a wink. He said he was used to the spooky things that his grandparents would tell him about, but this was not normal spooky. And he said he thought it was an animal, but it didn't feel like it because of the mumbling. Now, this is alleged footage of what they consider to be Dogman. There are some very extensive videos that I could send to you, but what the fuck is this? Now, one reason I wouldn't say that this is a bear is clearly because of the hind legs. And it couldn't be Bigfoot because Bigfoot is quite large, as we all know. This is a picture of the Dogman cryptoid that was captured in the Appalachian Mountains on the trails. These sightings are getting more and more regular, and they're honestly freaking me the fuck out.
What's my name?
My name is Dave.
Gun.
Good. Terry, were you taken out by a gun?
Why must you know?
Why must I know if you were hurt? Because you just told me you were hurt. That's why I said what happened. You can't just say something and then not expect a reaction or a question or any of that. You know?
Left.
To the left, to the left, to the left. Get off my finger. Where'd it go? That had wet paint on it. At least it was wet, so it stuck to the wall. Nice. Ow, my hand hurts. Oh, that was too much. What is going on? Enough. Oh.
I'm watching you.
Okay. I'm not the best at painting, but you can watch.
How did I die?
Honestly, I don't know. I could lie. You told me to give you like a noble death or like murder or
Ornament. Hungry.
you just had French fries. I'm kidding. I have French fries.
I want you to go.
Queen, I'm leaving in like 6 minutes. I'll be back home at 6 p.m. Sound good?
Playing from Abby's iPhone. 3.
Oh no, we don't want that. I didn't think it was gonna play on my Alexa.
This is probably the scariest story I've ever read. If you're new here, hi. I usually talk about some pretty scary stuff, and recently I went an email where anyone who finds this page could send me their ghost stories. And let me tell you, I have not only been getting a lot of emails, I genuinely did not think that these were going to be as scary as they are. And just a little PSA, these stories are so scary that I've had to start reading them during the day. And this story is one of the reasons why. So let's get into it. This story comes from someone who would like to remain anonymous, and for obvious reasons, I'm going to respect that. So before we get into it, everyone in this story is ranged from 14 to like 17. And this happened a few months ago. So every other month, the person who sent me this email and his family go and travel 5 hours across country to go see his cousins on his dad's side. In this particular time, they decided to watch paranormal movies when they arrived. And after the movie was over, him, his cousins, and his brothers decided to make a DIY Ouija board. They took this board upstairs to like the main floor and started asking questions. Specifically, how many of us are in this room? And it answered correctly. They continued to ask pretty simple questions, and every single question was answered correctly. Then they asked, are you, and I'm not going to say the name of this thing because it freaks me out, but they ask, are you, and the planchette stopped. Then suddenly, their uncle burst through the front door and they slide the board underneath the coffee table and did not say goodbye. So the person who sent me this email, his two brothers sleep upstairs for the night, while him and his cousin sleep downstairs. And the next morning, his brothers rush downstairs and start claiming that they were hearing banging coming from the attic the previous night. And when they were questioned what it sounded like, his brothers started banging on the table, and the person who sent me this email said it was so loud we didn't believe them. The email also says that they were not allowed to check the attic because their uncle didn't want them to go up there. However, he states that it was like an attic out of the movies where they have the little cord and you pull it down and stairs fall. The next night, the person who sent me this email and his cousins decide to sleep upstairs and the brothers downstairs. So they just flip-flopped to see if they could hear what was going on the previous night. And they did. He woke up at exactly 3 a.m. to the loudest banging coming from the attic. He tried to wake up his cousins, but they were not waking up. He says that once the banging stopped, he had to go to the bathroom, so he got up and went to open the door, but the knob wasn't budging, almost like someone was on the other side holding the doorknob. And when he was able to open the door a little bit, he noticed something, and that was the hallway light wasn't on. And I guess in this house, the hallway light is always on, so the fact it was off immediately started raising red flags. And I guess you can see the door to the bathroom, and it was just slightly open, and it was just swaying back and forth. And at this point, the person who sent me this got scared and slammed the door shut, at which point it wakes the cousins up in the room. And when he explains what happened to him, they stay up until sunrise. And at the end of the email, he says that whenever he tells people this story, they think he's crazy. And all I gotta say is, I don't think you're crazy because I have had the same experiences. I also made a DIY Ouija board and did not say goodbye. And whatever was in the board was obviously not just secluded in the board, if you know what I mean. And I would hear the craziest things for months after. This is also why I tell people not to play with Ouija boards. But anyways, that's gonna do it for me. Stay tuned for more ghost stories.